almost got my bald spot in there. Okay, here we are. It is Wednesday, late Wednesday, but Wednesday. So we're doing the newest episode of Weekend Reading for anybody who may actually stumble upon this. What is Weekend Reading, you might be asking? Well, that is my weekly segment where I talk about what I read last week and tell you a little bit about it, what I'm reading next week and tell you a little bit about it, and then I also pose a comic book related question. So let's get into it. What did we have last week? Well, last week we had Black Panther Volume 9, The Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda, by Ta-Nehisi Coates. I always feel like I'm saying that name wrong, but I mean that's how it's spelled. And Daniel Acuna. Good read. It was not my pick of the week, and it was not my favorite of the week, but it was a good read. It was a good conclusion to the story overall. The other one was Future State Suicide Squad by several different creative teams that I don't feel like getting into right now. I went over them last week. This was my pick of the week, and it was my favorite. Normally I do 3 in a week, but it's been light pickings on what I've been getting from my comic book shop lately, so it was only 2 this last week, and it's only 2 this week too, just for heads up. Like I said, it was Future State Suicide Squad. This was a good Future State book. The weird thing is, I didn't feel like it shouldn't be called Future State Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad story was only a minor part of it. I feel like it actually should have been called like Future State Titans or Future State Shazam, maybe. Because the story that really ran through the whole thing had more to do with them. There was, of course, the Suicide Squad story at the front that was about... Amanda Waller is on Earth 3 and she set up a new Suicide Squad that are pretending to be members of the Justice League. She's got Superboy, Connor Kent, Superboy, pretending to be Superman. She's got Hypnotic Woman pretending to be Wonder Woman, Clayface pretending to be Martian Manhunter, Talon pretending to be Batman, Bolt pretending to be The Flash, and the Fisherman pretending to be Aquaman. And they're being hunted by an actual Suicide Squad who's been sent from Earth 1 by Rick Flag to hunt down and bring Amanda Waller back for some reason. That team is... What is that team made of? Because now I'm drawing a fucking blank. It's in here. Just let me get to it. My apologies. Okay, here we go. I know Black Manta was one of them, but it's also Cheetah... Devil Star, or is it Evil Star? I forget his name. He's a fucking loser villain. A Parademon, Mirror Master, Lord Zod, which is General Zod's son. That was interesting. And Peacemaker, who's leading the team. They're really trying to push Peacemaker in the comic books now. Peacemaker has become a very big character. Probably has something to do with John Cena playing him and him trying to be a major character in movies and TV shows now. Just a guess. So yeah, that was the Suicide Squad story, but that was only 2 issues. Then there was another story in the middle about Swamp Thing, about him being at the end, being in basically a post-apocalyptic world where humanity has almost been wiped out, and he's replaced humanity with like these plant creatures of his creation, and him then coming across some last vestiges of humanity that are being controlled by Woodrue, who is trying to basically use a machine to blacken out the world so the sun won't be around anymore and it'll just plunge the world into darkness and no plants will live, and basically ensuring the death of everything and them stopping him, and then Swamp Thing essentially stopping him. It's almost kind of a sad story because it has a lot to do with like sacrifice for the sake of humanity, even though humanity doesn't always seem worth it. But then the rest of the stories were Titans, Shazam, and Black Adam, and they were all connected through one through story. If you remember back in Future State Flash, the Flash was dealing with the fact that Wally West the older Wally West, had been possessed by what apparently was one of the horsemen of the apocalypse, Famine. Well, in Titans, they show that there's all 4 horsemen are there, including the Wally West Famine and some other members of the Titans Academy who have also been possessed, and it has something to do with some weird event. It wasn't quite clear what happened, but somehow something the Titans have their own academy, and in this academy some of the students did something fucking stupid, and it led to the 4 horsemen being released. And that's why it's all members of the Titans team that have been possessed by one of the horsemen. They figured out a way to stop them, and it involved Raven basically drawing all the 4 horsemen into herself, and then Shazam had to imprison her in the Rock of Eternity, and he had to guard her there, and he couldn't change back into Billy Batson, because if he says the word and changes it back to Billy Batson, the power of Shazam returns to the Rock of Eternity, and then Raven could just steal the power and escape from the Rock of Eternity. So it's this complicated thing. Now, how does that connect to Shazam future state? Well, in that story, it takes place a little farther along, where Shazam is now leading, I don't know if it's supposed to be a group of Titans or Justice League. They didn't really say what the name of the team was, but he has a team, and he's leading them, but he hasn't changed back into Billy at all. And you're wondering, like, wasn't he supposed to be guarding the Rock of Eternity? And you find out that at some point he made a deal with Neron, because for some reason now the Rock of Eternity, instead of being the center of the multiverse, is now in hell, and Neron made a deal with him to split him and Billy into 2 different people, and Billy stayed to guard the Rock of Eternity because for some reason he was more noble, so he chained himself to the doors of the Rock of Eternity in hell, while Shazam went back to Earth to be a hero. The problem is, it's like, this was so dumb thought out, because it's like, why would you trust a demon like Neron to do something good? He fucked with Shazam, so he saw people being influenced by demons, so he was like killing people. So his team captured him and then forced him to say the word. I forget how exactly they do it, but they force him to say Shazam again, which then forces him to switch back into Billy, and the power returns to the Rock of Eternity. Raven then claims that power, breaks out of the Rock of Eternity. Now she has her Raven power, she has the power of the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and now she has the power of Shazam. So Neron bows before her and leaves him in charge of the Rock of Eternity, and she then is now just free to roam. Now, where does that lead into Black Adam? Well, Black Adam, now the story has gone way farther in the future. We're in the 853rd century, where the Justice Legion A is. And in there, magic is basically gone from the universe. Then all of a sudden, this thing called the Unkindness, that's a stupid name, I know, but that's what it's called, the Unkindness, shows up with a team including the last Lord of Chaos, Vandal Savage, for some reason now Evil Dove, and all of the 7 deadly sins are following her. Oh yeah, and Tikal, Clarion's cat, is with her. And she's leading all of them, and they're basically just charging through the universe, beating everything. They beat Superman, they possess several members, the 7 deadly sins managed to take control of several members of the Justice Legion A, and they end up going to Black Adam, who's running his own. He's an ambassador for planet Kandak, but he's given up magic. He's only managed to stay alive through technological advancements, but he's completely given up use of magic. There's no magic in the universe, but then when the Unkindness and the 7 deadly sins come for him, he says the word and he becomes Black Adam again. He tries to fight the Unkindness and realizes he can't. He gets drawn into a place where he ends up making his way with like Wonder Woman and the Eternal Man to the Tower of Fate, where like all the remaining magic users are hiding, and there's a new quintessence there. But the Unkindness finds them because the Eternal Man betrays the team, and you learn along the way that the reason the Rock of Eternity was in hell is because something knocked it from its place in the center of the multiverse. And then Black Adam, in one last desperate move, says the word Shazam as the actual wizard Shazam is dying, and he gets sent back in time to the Rock of Eternity, and him traveling like that knocks the Rock of Eternity out of its place into hell, and Shazam and Black Adam's now trapped in the Rock of Eternity. So there's more to this story. So this whole Four Horsemen story, there's some big build-up that's coming from this. There's some big thing to this. It's actually getting quite interesting. But yeah, that was that story. That was a terrible explanation of everything that happened. But yes, Future State Suicide Squad was definitely the best read. It was definitely the most interesting. What do we got coming this week? That's not where. Well, once again, like I said, we only got 2. We got Wonder Woman, Volume 5, Lords and Liars. Let's see what this one are out. Is Wonder Woman willing to die for the truth? Probably. It's a brand new day for Wonder Woman. As Diana starts to pick up the pieces of her life following her battle with the Four Horsewomen, man's world has become more complicated to navigate than ever before. It seems everyone has taken on who Wonder Woman should... Oh, no. It seems everyone has a take on who Wonder Woman should be. Some look on her heroics with admiration, and some lie in wait to seek revenge. A dangerous new foe has made her presence known in the life of our hero, and Liar Liar isn't going anywhere. But never fear, the reformed, quotations, reformed, Maxwell Lord, who just happens to be the deadbeat dad of the young villain, has Diana's back. And as the Amazon Prince is about to find out, he's not afraid to stick a knife in. Yeah, that should be interesting. Featuring the work of Eisner Award-winning writer Mariko Tamaki, with all-star artists such as Mikkel Janin, or Janin, maybe, and Steve Pugh, P-U-G-H, I think it's Pugh. This volume collecting Wonder Woman 759 through 769, holy shit, that's a lot, promises to be a classic for years to come. That sounds like it could be interesting. Not my pick of the week, though. My pick of the week is another Future State. That would be Future State Wonder Woman. This is just a Wonder Woman week. Just a coincidence. What can I say? Pardon me. I do not have COVID. I just have a summer cough. The fate of the future is in her hands. What does the future hold for Wonder Woman? Quite a lot. This collection brings together all the adventures of Wonder Woman from DC's Future State event. First up is Nubia, the finest Amazonian warrior who heads out on her own to gather magical relics before Grail can get them and use their combined power to cause some unholy mischief. Then down in Brazil, Yor Flor takes a journey into hell to save one of her fallen sisters. She also finds the time to team up with Jonathan Kent, the next Superman, to help the Sun retain his status as the ruler of the sky. Finally, long after all her friends and allies have fallen, Diana Prince must make one last stand against the Undoing, a malevolent force that threatens to pull the universe apart. Featuring a host of superstar talent including L.L. McKinney, Joelle Jones, Jen Bartel, Wonder Woman writers Michael W. Conrad and Becky Cloonan, and more, this trade collects Future State Immortal Wonder Woman 1 through 2, Future State Wonder Woman 1 through 2, and Future State Superman Wonder Woman 1 through 2. So, yeah, that looks like it should be interesting. The Future State stuff has been pretty good, I got to admit, by and large, so I'll be interesting to see what comes next from this one. So that was for the reads. What's the question of the week? That should be good. The question of the week is a pretty straightforward one. One that I just think about every now and then. Who is the most annoying character in comic books? Just the most annoying character. I don't know what your classification would be for annoying, but my classification would be for annoying would be just somebody who shows up and there's like no fucking purpose for them. They don't serve any use, ever. They're just stupid. not even necessarily like a silly character. I mean, there's plenty of like silly characters who are just background characters, maybe to provide humor or something, but it's just like a character who just feels forced. I know there's a lot of characters that can feel like that nowadays, but I mean like someone who seems completely superfluous and just annoying and dumb. Like I said, who's the most annoying character? So yeah, annoying would be part of it, but just like dumb and pointless and just, it's like, go the fuck away, man. Like, why are you even here? I mean, there's so many characters that could fit that qualification. There's so many useless comic book characters, but I would feel that there's one, definitely in modern times, that fits that qualification for me, and it's a character called Gwenpool. If you need some explanation for that, which if you read comic books you shouldn't, but if you do, a couple years ago there was a character called Spider-Gwen who was created. It was sort of like a what-if story. What if Gwen Stacy was bitten by the radioactive spider instead of Peter Parker, and she became... They called her Spider-Gwen, which was just a playful name, even though it just sounded stupid. But yeah, she was basically Spider-Woman in her universe. Eventually she takes on the name Ghost Spider instead of Spider-Woman. So, but she was the Spider superhero of her universe. And people liked it to the point where she got her own book. I don't know if she still has it, but I know at one point she did. And I like alternate reality storylines, but I've always felt like Gwen Stacy was just like, she's dead, let it go, whatever. Like, she was already dead by the time I started reading comic books, so she was never like a big character to me. She never meant anything to me. But then, for some reason, they decided to create another alternate version of Gwen Stacy called Gwenpool, where she is, as you might have guessed it, her reality's version of Deadpool. And it's just like... So now you have this completely superfluous, unnecessary character who's taking on the role of just like a character that's known for being silly and annoying. That's Deadpool's thing. But it's like... He has his own book. This is a character that just pops up in other people's shit just for no reason. And it's just like, why are we doing this? So yeah, that's my choice, is Gwenpool. Gwenpool is the most annoying character in comic books, at least in modern years. Maybe people have other takes. Maybe people have some older characters that they felt are useless, you know? But I could think of a few, but, you know. Like I said, Gwenpool just, every time she showed up, it's just like, why are we doing this? Get her the fuck out of here. So yeah, that's my choice. It's a bit of a shorter question this week, but it was just the next one on my list, so hopefully I think I'll have a better one next week. One that's more thought out, but there wasn't really much to think out with this one. So yeah, that's it for this week. This one I'm reading. What are you reading? And I gotta think of a fucking tagline to fucking end this thing. Enjoy your reading. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your weekend reading. That's way too specific. There's no necessary... Enjoy your weekend and enjoy your reading? That sounds good. Maybe we'll go with that. It'll come off more natural next time, I promise. I'll work on it. But until then, have a good one.